here. Chris, thank you. Let's bring in our panel. Charles Hurt, opinion editor for the Washington Times. Mara Liasson, national political correspondent of National Public Radio. Steve Hayes, editor of The Dispatch. Mara, we're getting Marine One about ready to take off now. The President and the First Lady on board, heading to Walter Reed National Military Medical Center. He will spend several days there, we're told, out of what the White House is calling an abundance of caution. He will work from the Walter Reed offices there. There are a suite of offices, and he will obviously be monitored for COVID-19. Your thoughts?
Right. Well, apparently the setup for the President Walter Reed is pretty commodious. It's like a whole floor, lots of bedrooms, offices. It's kind of like a mini White House, so he's going to be able to work there. But I think there's going to be tremendous interest in what exactly are his symptoms, how he's feeling, and there's going to be a lot of pressure on him to actually speak to either reporters or address the nation. I mean, this is a big deal. And, he's going to need to, at some point, reassure the country that he's okay.
Steve, there's a lot of animus all over social media. It's a divided country. But in moments like this, praying for and wishing good thoughts for the First Family of the United States, the Commander-in-Chief of our country, is a pretty good thing to do.
Yeah, it shouldn't matter what your politics are, shouldn't matter what your views are on Donald Trump. I'm saying prayers for Donald Trump. I hope people who, regardless of their views, regardless of their religious beliefs, will join me in saying prayers for Donald Trump. I think it's a time for people to show restraint. I mean, we've lived through 2020 in a global pandemic and the near collapse of the global economy. We've seen our cities on fire. We've had real racial tension. It's been obviously a strained and strenuous year, and everything has been turned up to 11. I think now is a time for restraint and facts. I think the White House needs to provide good information, as much of it in public as humanly possible, and not, as Chris Wallace said.
Let's pause for a second. Let me see if I can get the natural sound here. President Trump and First Lady Melania Trump traveling via Marine One from the South Lawn of the White House, now heading to Walter Reed National Military Medical Center. It's a short trip over to Bethesda, where he will be on the ground. Steve, go ahead, finish your thought. I wanted to take that live.
Keep praying.
Yeah, sure.
Keep praying, people.
I think the White House has an obligation to provide as much information, truthful information as possible, but reporters have an operation to be restrained as well. I mean, it's important that we ask tough questions, that we probe for as much information and detail as we can possibly get, but I think it's worth taking a step back and not allowing sort of on-air speculation and kind of irresponsible claims to take over. This is a time for facts and good information.
I hear you. Charlie, your thoughts?
Well, certainly these are dramatic images, without doubt. But I do think that, following on your reporting out of the White House and what Dr. Alvarez was saying, I think it's important to remember that Walter Reed is precisely where the President of the United States should be today, on a day when he's been diagnosed with COVID. It is set up. The entire operation is designed for exactly this. No matter how serious or how minor the president's symptoms wind up being, this is where he should be, and so I think it's important to remember that. On a personal note, obviously it's heart-wrenching, and it's frightening to think of the president being vulnerable to something that has been so horrible for so many people and can be a devastating disease. The president, he's a tough guy. He is a fearless guy, And I, obviously join Steve and Mara and you and everybody else in sending up. There are a lot of prayers going up from America today, right now, and
Let's
I
not
think
worry,
that's
just
undoubtedly a good
let's
thing.
pray. Hope and
We
pray
are
that
less than
everything
a
turns
minute,
out
From
okay.
that video that we promised, the walkout of President Trump and the First Lady from the White House to Marine One. As we showed you earlier, the reporters, the photographers were gathered just to the outside of this door. And right now they're getting ready to play out this tape for the president heading to Walter Reed National Military Medical Center. The president, according to the White House Chief of Staff, was in good spirits. He made some phone calls today, but was fatigued. And we had two statements from the White House physician today about his status, what he actually was taking, including a cocktail of antivirals that is not yet approved by the FDA. It's called Regeneron, and the company put out a statement as well. Let's listen in.
Here's our president. God bless you, President. God bless you, President Trump. We're praying for you. There he goes. Get well, President. Get well.
There you see it. It actually was just President Trump making that walk from the White House. The First Lady Melania Trump not with him, but obviously wearing a suit and tie and also that black mask. Also with him, the White House Chief of Staff, Mark Meadows, also wearing a mask. He tested negative. We're told the White House Chief of Staff did. Mara, your thoughts on those images as we look live at the Walter Reed Medical Center in Bethesda as Marine One gets ready to land there.
Yep, pretty dramatic. This has been a week. It's just been head spinning. About how many big events have happened this week. But now he's off to Walter Reed, and I think that we're going to see what happens when he takes this drug. They say it's out of an abundance of caution. NPR actually had several sources that said that in addition to being fatigued, the president did have a fever. How high it was, we don't know. But whenever the president of the United States goes to Walter Reed for anything other than a checkup, it's a really big deal. You heard earlier in the show, Joe Biden has pulled his negative ads. That was a sign of respect. I don't know if the Trump campaign will do the same thing, but this is a really important moment in this presidential campaign.
Let's go to Kristen Fisher. She's outside watching Marine One come down there at Walter Reed National Military Medical Center. Kristen.
Well, Brett, you can see Marine One just behind me. We heard it just moments ago. It should be landing here at Walter Reed any minute now. And, this is really the nation's premier military hospital. We often hear about it or see it in the news when presidents come here to visit wounded troops that are staying here. But now President Trump is coming here as a precautionary measure. And I just want to go ahead and read you the statement from the White House Press Secretary Kayleigh McEnany in full, because it really does give you a sense of what we can expect over the next few days. And you can hear Marine One landing right now just behind me. It should be touching down literally within the next few seconds. But here is that statement from Kayleigh McEnany. She said, quote, President Trump remains in good spirits, has mild symptoms, and has been working throughout the day out of an abundance of caution and at the recommendation of his physicians and medical experts. The president will be working from the presidential offices at Walter Reed for the next few days. And so a lot of people don't know this, but there is an entire suite, an entire complex inside this massive military hospital, strictly for moments like this. It hasn't been used much, but it has been used in the past. President Ronald Reagan actually stayed here overnight in 1989 after he had a minor surgery. And so there's this whole suite of very secure offices. There's places for the president to eat, sleep, work, and receive treatment. And so the White House taking great pains to stress that President Trump is coming here out of an abundance of caution, just in case, things spiral out of control quite quickly. As we know with this virus, that can happen, and it has happened to a lot of people who test positive for COVID-19. So President Trump landing here at Walter Reed right now, where he is expected to stay for treatment and work for the next several days, Brett.
Let's hope and pray that doesn't happen, that it's a speedy recovery, and that he gets back into action very soon. We're going to this live camera. It's a pool camera on the ground at Walter Reed. It looks like they are moving out of that area. You can see the people gathered outside trying to get a shot of the helicopter and the president arriving. Charlie, 2020 has been a bit surreal to begin with. Now, this is even more so.
It really has been. It's, a week ago you would have said that it can't get any stranger, and then here we are watching these images. It's pretty incredible. But, people who love President Trump and people who don't particularly like his politics, I think everybody can agree, he's a master showman. He's a master of style and imagery. And I was struck by watching him walk between the White House to board Marine One. He gave a couple of waves, he gave a couple of thumbs ups, and but the detail that struck me the most was as he boarded the helicopter, when he got to the top of the steps going into Marine One, he tapped his hand on the railing of the stairs, and that was very intentional, I think, by him. It's a way of him saying it's going to be okay, or at least from his perspective, he feels like it's going to be okay.
Let's just listen in and see these images.
There he is, our president. Our beloved president. Donald J. Trump. Please get better, President. Please get better. We're rooting for you. I think the most patriotic thing we could do is give $45 to the Trump campaign today. He's the 45th president.
Operation, even a short drive to the
A show of support.
National Military, Walter Reed National Military Medical Center. Kristen Fisher's outside, and the president will be inside as he gives a little wave to the crowd in the pool right now. Kristen?
Brett, such a surreal scene out here. The entire street right outside of Walter Reed has been shut down. No surprise there. This happens a lot when the president is moving around town, either via motorcade or when he is landing via Marine One. But there really is a different feel out here tonight. There are dozens of members of the White House press corps standing on the street, and what's really notable is I'd say there's about 100 people that have gathered right outside Walter Reed as Marine One was touching down here, and they were standing on the other side of the street, and as Marine One started to touch down, they all ran across the street and crowded by this fence just behind me to try to see whatever glimpse they could of President Trump landing here just hours after testing positive for COVID-19. We always say that presidents come here quite frequently. This is where they come when they're receiving minor medical procedures or when they have to have a surgery, as President Ronald Reagan did back in the late 1980s. But to have a president of the United States touching down here, where he's not just going to be here for the next few hours. The White House press secretary says he is going to be staying here for the next few days.
God bless him.
Touching down here in the middle
I'm gonna
of
stop
this
this
pandemic,
tape, but
it is one of the
please don't say any nasty things on the social media to our president and our floaters. Please be civil.
We really just set up shop here
Get
right
better,
outside Walter
President.
Reed.